Going on, man. Seeing if you guys are open. Shout back. Love and joy.
Unreal.
I got to see the monkey right now.
Woo, we got some water for you. Don't worry. It's all good. All right, man. We ready? My man Jordan?
Yes, sir.
Rico in the building?
What's going on?
David, how you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling good.
Vlad, you ready?
Feeling nice, baby.
Lulu,
and
you ready?
Spice.
Let's go.
That's it. You as good as you can get? Let's do it. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's the motherfucking Happy Munkey Podcast show. Y'all know what it is. It's Ramon Reyes, co-founder and creator of Happy Munkey, and we got Vladimir. And today, you know we always got somebody special, man. And today, I think it's really, really special because in a moment where we didn't even know that a legal industry existed, right? Because let's be real, prior to 2018, like mid 2018, we didn't we didn't even know that people were gathering to exchange information about a legal industry, right? Like we was literally still living underground. We didn't know what the fuck was going on. We didn't know
in the Stone Age.
Yeah, we were in the Stone Age. We didn't know
Cannabis.
people were fighting for legalization. We weren't not in that world. We were straight up in the underground world, right? So when we finally got to kind of like emerge into the legal industry and kind of see all the things that were happening, most conferences were straight up and down, and for the lack of better terms, it was all white. It was a bunch of white people, right?
Call it beige. The beige conferences.
They were pale, male, and stale.
And,
Yes.
and
There
the
we go.
information didn't leave from like Vlad likes to say, from Wall Street to 96th Street. It kind of just stood in the places where the prominent white folks live, right? Let's be real, right? So we were kind of like the only people with color. There was some black people there, some Asians. There was a little mix in these conferences, but it wasn't it. But this person made a conference that welcomed us, right? And I don't mean just me and you. It was very inclusive to all people, right? Black, brown, Asian, fucking short, tall, handicapped, all of the above, right? Fucking Dominicans like us, everybody, right? It really, really felt home because, to be honest, like I just said, prior to this, we didn't even understand that a legal industry existed. But this person created something where it kind of evened out the platform for all of us, right? It's like, oh shit, there's information, there's legalization even happening. Oh shit, let's get these people together and let them know what's going on, right?
Cannabis stocks and stuff
cannabis
like
stocks and all these things. We didn't know none of this shit existed, right? So today we got someone who, to me, personally revolutionized education, networking, and kind of, connected everybody who y'all see today, because all these people today were definitely going to these events, right? So not only are we talking about somebody who's fucking big in the New York industry, they're big in the industry in general, right? So fucking chief experience officer, fucking co-founder of Reverie, On The Revel. I don't know, am I missing anything? Because she's done so much shit. I don't want to forget and miss out. But definitely, we got the one and the only Miss Lou, motherfucking Lou.
What an intro. I need you around me at all times.
I'm here. I'm at your service, man. I'm at your service. Before we get deep into it, I know we got some updates that Vlad and all that stuff got to give out, and
Definitely, y'all
the
know we're
1, 2,
coming
1, 2.
to a theater near you. We're coming to Uptown Dykeman. We're coming to downtown Brooklyn. Make sure you go to link on bio if you want to see, if you want to get down with this emerging industry, you want to be part of the Happy Munkey team. Come there, leave your info, and we'll get back to you if you got what it takes. We're looking for great, talented people. Use the code LISTEN if you want to get 20% off the Happy Munkey merch. Make sure you keep on sending all the art, the messages, the drops that we use at the beginning of the episode, because we really read all that, we really listen to it, and we really appreciate it. Now, let's get into it. We got the woman, the myth, the legend, Miss Lulu in the building.
Absolutely.
So, Lulu, thank you so much for being here, first of all. You're like like Ramon said, you're an inspiration to all of us. You're like, a sister from another mother that no matter what we're going through, you always have incubated us and every, underdog in this industry. And today we're here to give you your flowers.
I'm so excited to be here, gentlemen.
welcome. She brought a special guest, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not see who's chilling with her, Mr. Orlando here in the building, man. We getting hot together today, man. Sorry, man. I'm not gonna not smoke. It's gonna go down.
Chill little dude. He's born that way.
Lulu, so everybody knows about all your amazing accolades in Cannabis and On The Revel, but what people don't know is that how did this woman come about? You know, your parents come from China. You started in China. Tell us about little Lulu starting from over there and how you transitioned to come into the U.S. and everything prior to On The Revel.
Okay, we're gonna go back.
We'll go back. Give us a quick little.
I came here with my parents from northern China, so there was like no exposure to the West at all. So it was like lockdown communist. And we ended up in Eugene, Oregon. So I don't know if anybody's been to Eugene, Oregon. You have? It's still like a little progressive hippie college town. It hasn't really changed. And we're just really lucky that when we landed there, the people that took my parents in, taught them English, babysat me, they were all, very progressive. There was cannabis growers, consumers. A lot of people were coming back from like the ashrams in India. So a lot of the popular stuff that's happening now in wellness and healing was like what I was raised with. So I've always had aunties and uncles involved with.
That was going to be part of my question I was going to add to it was like, how do you think like, you knowing about Eastern medicine and all the different, holistic things they've been doing over there, when you got here, you were able to apply and be open to different things like cannabis? Yeah,
well, I think the people that were in Oregon were also very open to like Eastern medicine. So it's like hippy dippy. So what was really cool was that my parents met these people that were just interested in Chinese medicine too. So cannabis became part of medicine. It was just another herb, it was another plant. So I was just really lucky that, a lot of Asian families are just, it's still such a huge stigma.
Absolutely.
And it's just not even accepted. And my parents were really cool about it, because it was part of their introduction to community, to U.S. culture. And I just, seeing that firsthand has just given me a really big belief that if you can introduce things in a positive way in any type of community, it totally changes the generational thinking about what it is. And my parents are so hardcore, like they are full on, like I couldn't go slumber parties. It was just really interesting.
Parents don't usually play.
They don't play. No, I was raised by Chinese dragons.
All right, so little Lulu, give me your first time getting high. Was it a blunt? Was it a bong? What kind of weed? Give me the settings. What kind of music? What was going on?
It was 8 bong hits administered by my aunt.
Wow.
When I was 13.
Bong. Okay.
Because her philosophy was like, if you're going to go smoke, I want to make sure I know what you're smoking, and I want to make sure that I'm watching over you. So it just kind of set a very different path along like how, weed has been part of my life. And then when I was 15, it was my uncle who procured for my first mushroom trip.
Oh.
So it's always been part of just how I am and what I, grew up with. And that's kind of turned me into like the Sherpa for friends and family, or
shaman.
Yeah. I don't know. I hate that term, shaman. Maybe the Sherpa. So if friends were interested, family, colleagues were interested, I'd be like, "This is what it's about, and this is how you do it," and I'll sit and watch if you'd like. So that's kind of just set the whole precedent of like how I came all the way back full circle into plant medicine.
Interesting. So prior to On The Revel, what was Lulu's career? What was she doing?
I was a corporate lady.
A corporate lady.
So, always on the design side. So after Oregon, I was like, fuck these Birkenstocks and hemp bracelets. Get me out of here. Because, you don't, when you're young, you don't really appreciate what you have, right? So I went about the world. I fell into tech. So I started in tech in 1994. My first job was to go to the car dealerships and get all of the brochures for the cars. And that's where I learned HTML and Photoshop. So I would put them online. It was the first automotive website back in the day. And then I just, grew up with technology. So for the past 20 years, my profession would be called user experience design and research. So building things, making sure that I know what I'm designing for the people that are supposed to use it. So just trying to be very mindful and intentional about how people interact with things.
So you had a journey from the hippies to Silicon Valley to the cannabis industry. So what was during this journey when the epiphany came up to you to shout out to Jacoby to found On The Revel and create this incubator for people like me and Ramon and all marginalized people to learn more about this industry?
Well, I was a consultant at Bloomberg at the time, and a friend of mine from...
That was a light flex. I'm sorry. I'm not just going to let that one just go over yeah, I was working at Bloomberg, but
So at that time, a friend of mine from college called me up and said, hey, check out this logo. I was like, ooh, cannabis? Okay, that's interesting. And he told me that, these are my brothers. I've known since I was like 19. And they said they got one of the first cannabis licenses in Washington State. And then they called me, they said, we're having a really difficult time with our seed to sale, the track and trace. Could you come and take a look and see if there's anything you can do to help match it to how we do our operations? So I went out there, and as soon as I got there, the seed to sale tracking system just turned off their APIs. So which means you can't really pull data from it anymore. And I was like, guys, I can't touch the shit. There's nothing I can do. And they said, well, why don't you stay here and check out if there's anything you want to do with us in weed? So I, went from California or from New York to Washington and just stayed with them on the farm for about 2 years. And I was flying back and forth. I was still working for Bloomberg, but still taking these remote jobs because I've been a consultant for probably 15 years remote, and just learned, just listened, just learned, just absorbed as much as I could. And what was really interesting with working with them is they were like, I'm not gonna let's not reinvent the wheel. So they did a huge part of their license was on the processing side. So they kept on trying using these extraction machines and cannabis machines specific for the industry, and they would break, and there was no R&D. So if a part broke, your line would be down for until the new part could be made. So
Sounds like a nightmare.
So Nened said, let me go research to see what other industries are doing distillation and extraction. So they called up those companies, and they're like, hey man, would you be interested in using your equipment for weed? And they got a contract. And the first 6 months, they sold more machines than the company did in 2 years. So that's how I got involved with the machine side. And then at the same time, a lot of the testing facilities were using the mass spec and chromatography machines. And I had designed the interfaces for Thermo Fisher's machines back then. So there was a lot of things that I was familiar with that led me into the path of cannabis. And then, I was coming back and forth between Washington and New York, and Gia Marone.
Another boss.
Yeah.
Godmother of New York Cannabis. She introduced me to Jacoby at this 420 party, and it was two nerds finally resonating together, oh. And he was doing a cannabis tech platform. I was doing a cannabis tech platform, and that's how we connected. And we're like, damn, these these conferences are so beige. I call them beige. I'm beige floors, beige walls, beige people, beige food, and we just wanted to do something that we would like to go to. We also wanted to do something that really was celebrating New York, because all of the other states talk about diversity. I mean, I grew up in Oregon, went to school in Washington. It's 60%, 70% Caucasian. And it was only when I got to New York that I really got to see what that word diversity means. So we just really believed in New York. We really believed in the people we kept meeting. We believed in, like, the culture, the industry, it's all here. So we're like, fuck it, let's just do the anti-conference. We're just gonna make something that we want to go to. We're gonna invite all our friends from the existing markets that we've met, that we really fuck with, and bring them to New York, because New York relationships are so different. It's old world.
Oh, different?
It's old world. You know, like on the West Coast, you can totally have a relationship with someone over Zoom. You know, you do business with them. Here, it's not the same. It is not the same.
You gotta come give me a handshake.
Yeah, thank you. We gotta break bread.
Yeah, fam.
And that's why we all connected right away, because you guys are old world. I was raised old world, and there's like something to be said about that respect, and just coming, also being familiar with the legacy world, because there was all my aunties and uncles. There's a way of doing business, and I think the legal market just doesn't get that sometimes. And that's why we see so many failures. That's why we see so much bullshit and wasted money. Like, how the fuck do you blow, was it $2 billion or $3 billion in 2 years or something? Like, how do you do that? How do you do that? So
wait, who did what? 2 billion, 3 what?
This company's not that expensive, family.
Oh,
so I don't know. So that's why as soon as I met you guys, I was just so happy, because that space at that time was a really magical moment where anybody from any background could meet, and it was the spot. And as a woman, I felt totally comfortable. You know, you had investors, you had like all the whole mix, women, like you had the brands, we had like legacy players, like everyone just came to hang out and smoke weed and have a good time and have a laugh.
absolutely.
That was a really beautiful, beautiful moment.
It was a beautiful time. Trust me, I loved it every moment of it. And yeah, I'm you know, that was our shit, man. That was our shit to do. And still, you know, I still, every once in a while, anytime we do get an opportunity that we do an event, we try to make sure that feeling is still there, you know.
And that's such a New York feeling. Like, there's these milestone moments in my life where I'm like, this feels good because everyone is there. You know, it doesn't matter what background you are, it doesn't matter what you look like. Everyone is there having a good time, and the intention is just being open and connecting. And like, that's the vibe that we try to do with all of our revelry events. It's just like making space for people to connect. And, you know, that's what we do.
And again, for me personally, I don't know about what the rest of the world was doing, but until I walked into a On The Revel, and to be honest, Vlad and David were the first. They were the first going to those events. So when I first walked in, I said, "Oh my God, this is significantly different." Not like a maybe. As soon as you walk in, there's like a rainbow. You know what I mean? Like, it's a rainbow inside, you know, and it's like this is what it's meant to be, like, for me, you know. So I don't know about, I guess, before On The Revel or during On The Revel, there wasn't any other, like, not even the conferences, not even like the MJ Biz's, because when we first went to MJ Biz, I was like, well, where the weed guys at? Like, what the fuck is this?
It's a science fair. I always call it the science.
So I'm not, you know,
fair,
I'm not trying to play it. I'm just telling people my personal experience, right? So this is what I got. So I'm like, damn, like really, 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 On The Revel is the only one that has all types of different players, and it just like it mimicked us, right? It kind of mimicked. It had all the different players from all around the world, and it brought in the legal industry for people like me and you, right? Because we, at the time, again, we was fucking clueless. Like, I know my man got good vocabulary, he could speak well and all this good stuff. He's a very, very fast learner, and he retains information very quickly. But to us, everything was brand new. We did not know. It was like, oh shit, this is a whole nother world.
And we still don't know. I mean, it's such a, you know, like what I also always respected about the both of you too is there's a humility in terms of just being open to things and like knowing that, hey, I don't know everything, but it's being humble, being able to learn, being able to like have perspective and I think that's why we've been friends for so long. I think this is Revelry. We started in 2016, so this is 8th year.
Crazy.
My 9th year in regulated. Oof.
In cannabis, that's like dog years, so that's a long time.
I know.
That's like 24 years or something like that, or 32 years.
Wow.
That's like
It's a long time.
it's a long time. So give us, like, you know, you haven't done this now for 8 years, and you've seen this industry mature, and you've seen On The Revel mature. Some of the highlights from On The Revel that you feel like are, you know, significant to you and Jacoby, like that different scenario situations that you feel like, you know, that On The Revel was like, you know, you like, this is what we did it for.
Well, most of the time, Jacoby and I are behind the scenes putting out fires, so we never got. You know how to do events. It's like, oh, they forgot the microphone. Oh my God, like this is missing. Oh my God, like, so we never really had a chance to be outside and really meet people and shake hands. So I'm really proud that right now, like, and we're also a volunteer group. So like we do these big productions, but everyone on our team has a full-time job, and this is our passion project. So I'm just really proud that a little team of 5 people have been growing and elevating to like these larger things. So we first started, I think it was the Cannabis Tech Group before I met you guys. It was called the Cannabis Tech Group. And then we changed it to On The Revel because one of the things that was just really important was being on the level, which a lot of the times in cannabis, there's so many performers and bullshit and smoke. So we're like, well, anybody that we fuck with, that we bring in, just has to be transparent and on the level with everything. And then we switched it because it's like, well, we also want this to be a celebration of all the people that are taking this risk and jumping into this crazy new space. So that's how On The Revel came about. We've grown, right? So we started with these, you know, meetups, and then we did TED Talks, and then we did the block party, and then we started our trade show last year. So for us too, like being small and nimble, and like we didn't want to waste people's money, time, and resources. It didn't make sense to do a trade show without a market, because again, like everything we do, want it to be impactful. Like something needs to come out of it, or it doesn't feel right. So now we have the trade show. We have our 3rd one coming up on May 30th, which both of you and I think the team are coming up to. We sold out, so we have 110 brands.
That's the Buyers Club, right?
That's the Buyers Club.
That's the Buyers
Revelry
Club. Okay,
Buyers
can you
Club.
explain that? Can you explain what is that?
So Buyers Club is, you know, our B2B trade show. When this first started last year, there was maybe 60 card, you know, people out there. And we heard from some friends that were like, hey, we have these stores that really don't know how to connect with, you know, the supply chain. And then we had, then we had friends on the supply chain that like, how do we get in touch with the stores? So we did a little mini test because we had our Revelry conference, and then downstairs was a basketball court. So I was like, Jacoby, we got to do this. We got to just do a little test. We'll get the basketball court going. And that was our first little baby, you know, Buyers Club. We had 60 tables there.
I think I was there.
You were there. Yeah, you've been to everything, Vlad. Like, Vlad is a true supporter.
I'm your biggest groupie, your biggest fan.
You're the best. I mean, every single event, you've been like so supportive and always showing up for
Gotta
us.
support those that support you. You've also done the same with us. And
I love you guys.
when people didn't look at us like somebody a group that was going to be like a force on the legal side, you know, you always treated us as such, and even, you know, inspired us and pushed us to continue moving forward. You know, when back then, you know, you saw what you saw, but other people were like, oh, these are just guys, it's just the entertainment, whatever, you know, for the moment.
I mean, you guys know so much more about the market than any brand that wants to come in and start. You know, like you guys, you have your customer base, you know, like what products move, what products sell. Like you guys had and still do have a huge following, but that's really important market data and consumer data that you can't buy. I mean, you can try, but
You can try.
You can try. So yeah. So we'll see you guys on May 30th.
Absolutely.
We also have been doing some industry nights. So we're gonna keep on killing ourselves because we're doing an open mic night, June 24th, Thursday night at Friends and Lovers in Brooklyn, because New York's got so much talent. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So we want to do like an open mic. Fan favorite will perform at our bigger event in September. And I think we're going to do a roller disco barbecue. And these are, Jacoby, if you're watching this, these are all things I put on the vision board like a long time ago. And it's happening. I just want to remind you that.
That everybody doesn't have, you got an interesting perspective because it just seemed from what you just said, from your upbringing to Oregon to New York to corporate to, Silicon Valley, like you just have a real different perspective, and I'm sure that's why you view things different than average people because you have so many different perspectives of so many different experiences that we had in life, and the things that we go through make us who we are.
100%. I think also being an immigrant has really helped in like my career path and how I look at things because all the first generations out there, you're the one translating between the school information to your parents or American stuff to your parents. Like you're always putting yourself kind of as the translator of things, and like user experience kind of made sense to me because and it's part of my personality. I think all my partners hate me. And sometimes I'm like, we could do it better. We could do it like this. Or why are you doing it in 10 steps? We can do it in 5. So everything's just kind of happened very magically in these moments of, milestones and transitions. And, I don't think I could go back to corporate. I really don't. I got out of the Matrix box and here we are.
So Lulu, you watching, now 8 years, this New York market evolve to what it is today, and us evolve. What do you think, like, from when it started to now? How would you compare it to other, legal markets in the rest of the country, and where do you see it going from when it started?
Oh, that's such a hard question.
I've been throwing softballs. I gotta, we gotta use that.
Well, we were just talking about how we're no longer out having a good time, and we're kind of in, back doing all the work right now. We had a huge hit last week, with all of that announcement.
That was tough. Shout out to Chris Alexander.
Yeah, that was hard to hear, and I think I just think that cannabis is so insignificant in the New York budgets, right? Like it's compared to real estate, compared to finance, compared to all the other things that like run New York, like cannabis is so insignificant right now. I wish we would just learn. Like I'm a UX designer. It's always like you do something small, you see what works, what doesn't, you fix it, you keep moving forward, and you just keep on refining. And I wish we could do that. It's I think the 20th year in legal weed now, and we see the same things happening over and over again. But I'm still hopeful. Like the difference with New York is New Yorkers are very vocal about things. It's when they get behind something, it's like a bullet train. So I do have hope that we can all get behind something that is going to be beneficial for the 3 things that I think we all stand for, which is industry, community, and culture. So
I want to shout out Chris Alexander because I know me and Ramon always talk about people complain, New Yorkers are not easy people to please.
yeah,
But just like you, I've been studying what's happening all over the country. And when it comes for the things that you said we care about, like for him and that organization to have more than double what the entire country has of marginalized people, black and brown owned dispensaries, and for that to be like crazy fair,
it's not even talked about.
That doesn't. I mean, like I am not saying it's perfect, but can't let perfect get in the way of good. Compared to like other states, like Illinois, they probably have like less than 1%, Massachusetts, etc. So it's just like, we just gotta always put things in perspective. Where like, yeah, it's been messy. We're still going through it, but we can't like take away the macro impact of it.
Yes. I mean, and then just observing it, like if it was like a corporate structure, right? So we have all these entities that are trying to work together. So they're like almost in silos. But there was never a group or a person overseeing the entire program, right? Like OCM was only for licensing, DASNY was only for real estate, and then there was the fund that was supposed to, do loans. But there wasn't an overarching project manager or program manager that was managing the whole outcome of that. And I think that's the biggest thing that if we could do it over again, I would say place an overarching group that is working everybody together, because there needed to be a North Star. And I think like every group, of course, has their own kind of motivations, but there wasn't anyone going like, I work for CARD. You know what I mean? Like, I work for OCM, I work for DASNY, I work for the fund, but no one really came out and said, hey, first and foremost, I work for the CARD program. And that's what I wish we could have seen more of.
But now it's some bullshit. So who replaces Chris Alexander? We don't know,
TBD.
Right? Oh, so now, since we don't know, right, what happens, right? Now they place the machine in. Now it's not someone who looks like us and someone that talks like us. Now it's somebody that's just coming in straight for business. We don't know what's coming.
We don't know what's coming.
But I wish people would understand that this is a business. This is an industry. This is not I know we feel like it's culture, but this is not a culture that we imposing into the legal world.
Right.
This is a business that's coming out now to the legal world. That's gonna start paying taxes and all this other shit, right? So, like, yo, they're gonna bring in the Chads and the Brads.
Oh, they're here.
And
They're here.
And if we get that, now you like you said, New Yorkers are vocal. Now you get ready.
I think one thing that's really what I love in New York is real gets real fast. And when you have these brands coming in that just don't hit right, like, I think you feel it. And then it's kind of up to you, if you're coming into this industry, if you trust your gut or not, right? That's on you to make that decision. I think like you guys, we have a strict fuck yes and fuck no policy. And if someone on our team's like, that's a fuck no for me, we trust our team and like, fuck no, sorry, we can't fuck, we don't fuck with you.
Yeah.
That's it. And then if we have the fuck yes, those people, it's like, we're gonna fucking,
Yeah.
share resources. We want to fucking build cool shit with you. We want to stack paper with you. Like, those are the long-term relationships that, I'm always looking for to build, or that's what we want to do. And that's what's going to make it last.
So you watching this industry go from legacy to legal in New York and all your experience, how do you feel about now a big topic is the illegal, the 5,000 to 8,000 illegal shops throughout the state?
Oh man, that's also a very tough.
I know, that's why I
subject,
actually
right? Because there's like legacy, and then there's the gray market opportunists, and like I think people really need to understand the difference between those two, right? Like, they're the folks that have been doing this for generations, decades. That's one of the only options that was available at that time, right? And then we have the folks that are like, there's a 2-year window, I'm gonna come in and do a smash and grab and just flood it, make my money and leave, which also started hurting legacy. So a lot, right? So, the immigrant in me is always like, fucking go for it, fuck the man, and like make your money. This is New York, this is what you do. But the other part of me is like, how do we make it fair in a way where people who spent money, who spent time to like do it the right way, are able to move forward in a way that's not being like blockaded by all these shops. And then I'm telling you, like, there's one shop by me. I walked in, and it was like he sold to like a little 13-year-old. I swear to God.
That part.
See?
And he bought it on an EBT card. I was like, what is going on with this? What is going on? I was just like, whoa. Okay, so there's
so
just a lot
hood.
of...
That's so hood.
That's
That is so hood. That's
so
yo.
there's some of that shit going on where I'm just like,
Okay.
But that's what I think you made a good point, right, Lulu? Because remember, we came from Legacy originally, so we got nothing but respect for those people. But even when I was on the block, you know, people like it was still like, you know, there's a respect for community. There's a respect for like we're not selling to minors, etc.
Yeah,
and it's just like with the people, like you said, the great market opportunists. They're making it bad for those legacy people that really, you know, sacrifice their lives, and for the legal people like us. So, and they're not taking care of the community.
Thank you.
Because one thing is like, you know, the guy on the block, he is spending money, supporting, helping, hiring, helping make sure that things stay safe and etc. But this person, like that money doesn't even circulate where he's taking it from or where she's taking it from. So that is an issue.
That is a huge issue, and I don't know what the answer is to that. It's such a complex.
It's
a complex question and solution for that, but you know, I think it's just important to educate the consumers about it, right?
I mean, right now as we speak, they took the full force approach. They've been locking people up at this point. They've been shutting down the shops. Have y'all been seeing it? They did like 20. You know, I know it's nothing, but they started, right? I guess they on the rampage now.
People forget that.
Well, now the Governor Hochul came out and said, crazy. "I'm the white knight in armor coming to save everybody." Put her neck out there and said that she's gonna change things. So now, like, you know, gotta walk her like she talks her.
We'll see what that's. If people forget, New York is a police state, right? It's like we had a moment where. But we forget about that. So, yeah, I am not like read enough about the politics here, you know. So I'm kind of just been observing, but it just does not feel right at this moment. You know, it just doesn't feel.
Politics
right.
just never feels right in
it's
general.
So
some people call it politics. I call it politics.
Yeah,
but I got a much better topic for you, Lulu, that I'm really interested in hearing your perspective on, because you know. I dibble and dabble here and there, and I know you're a bit advocate for it, which is like psilocybin and psychedelics and etc. Where like, you know, just like cannabis, you know, everybody thought that it was just about, you know, going to get high and seeing elephants and rainbows, but now we're starting to see that there's a lot of medicinal benefits from PTSD to etc. So I want to know your opinion and why you became an advocate for people to take the little microdoses and for you yourself to do it.
So I had a really important person in my life going through end of life, probably like 7 years ago. Sorry, he's sleeping.
It must be boring. Orlando. What's going on here?
I got him high with the. I got him high. You got some water, Orlando? What's going on, my man?
So
you good out here in these streets?
So I got introduced to the microdosing stuff via a very important woman in my life who was going through end of life. And, you know, they challenged me at that time to find other plant medicines because, you know, the Western way, and I'm not anti-Western medicine at all, the Western way to manage her was to put her on Xanax. And then, you know, 2 weeks after that, you know, she and her daughter was like, yeah, she's not going out like this. So we challenge you to go out and see what else is out there. And she had COPD, so she couldn't smoke weed. So at that time, I also started with Root Sciences up in Washington, and they were just doing a lot of extracted things. So nerded out, went to go find some things, discovered Dr. James Fadiman, Psychedelic Explorer's Guide, and, you know, learned about microdosing. because back in the day, like, it was trip doses all the way.
I didn't know. I didn't know how to dose, fam. When I first ate shrooms, I used to just be like, okay, this is it, and you used to just eat it, and then whatever came, and that's it. I didn't even know how to dose them shits back in the days.
Micro, what? That process was just, I'd never seen someone transition in such a graceful, beautiful, like, peaceful way. I saw her a couple days before she passed, and at that time, like, all death around me had always been, like, full of fear or people freaking out or just anger, like, all of the skeletons come out of the closet. So it was just something that changed my perspective of, spirituality and health and mindset. And so that's how I kind of just turned the psychedelic interest on. And I was really fortunate at that time. I met Reggie Harris from Oakland Hyphae Labs. So they're one of Black-owned psilocybin and psilocin testing facilities in the United States. And he's just been doing so much work in making sure that in the psychedelic industry, because the suits and they're here.
No, I mean it's a business.
It's a big business.
Yeah, it's a business.
So, he's been making sure that the voices of people of color and the indigenous practices, and basically very much similar to what we do for On The Revel. Can I drop a little bit of an announcement?
Yeah, of course. That's what she's supposed to do.
So I'm 90% convinced Jacoby. I gotta take him out, get him drunk for him to give the yes. So we're gonna do a psychedelic conference.
Ooh, remember where you heard it first, baby. It's time, because we all know after cannabis, that is the next frontier, because we're seeing these pharmaceuticals being pumped at an alarming rate. Yeah. You can't watch anything without 10 pharmaceutical commercials.
It's true.
They kill people, so it's just
all
like
of them with 1,000 side effects,
and they got a song and a jingle with it, like a shit is like a club. I'm like, what's going on here?
And then you have a natural growing substance that comes from the earth that has been proven to be more beneficial than any of the prescriptions that are out there. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not Western, I'm not anti-pharmaceutical, I'm not anti-Western medicine, but these are all tools. These are all tools. Western medicine, cannabis, mushrooms, LSD, all of the things. These are all tools, and I'm very pro-choice. I'm like, you should be able to do whatever you want. This is your body. This is your life. These are things out here. This is on you to make the decision.
People are doing it anyway.
Thank you.
Like I don't understand like what's stopping them. Like nobody here in the room when weed was legal, and I'm gonna be nice, I'm gonna just say weed, right? Did anybody did that stop you from going to go smoke?
So much
did that
weed.
stop you going to cop?
Gosh.
You know what I mean, David? Did you weed is illegal. I'm not gonna go smoke weed. Get the fuck out of here, right? Like we all did what we had to do, right? So let's be real. Like all of a sudden, people are being like a little bit too much, right? Like come on, man. All y'all really take drugs at home, right? They take the real drugs at home.
But like I said, we got the biggest opioid epidemic in history being pumped out of pharmaceuticals with the oxys still being pumped. They slowed it down a little bit, so it's just like how cannabis.
Well, it's fentanyl now, right?
Psychedelics.
You know
what I mean? Cannabis, psychedelics. How can that has never killed a percent of what that, never done anything to anybody, could be considered worse than that?
Because it's not controlled. If there's so much shit happening right now in the world, and it's unfortunate that our governments don't trust the citizens enough to be able to make their own decisions. It really sucks. It's like having a parent that doesn't believe in you, right? And these things that are organic are outside of their control, right? It's not tagged. It's not cannabis is going to be soon, but this is also something you can grow at home. This is anything outside of being able to be controlled is dangerous. And but the biggest thing is like I would love to have control over my body. Here as a woman, RV Wade, that was devastating. So it's also really interesting that as war and fear escalates, if you look at the history, psychedelic use and interest also escalates at the same time. So I'd be interested in anybody out there has any data on this. Like, it'd be interesting to see what that does.
So what advice do you have somebody, Lulu, that has only heard what you said, people microdosing back in the days and, not being able to really enjoy it and never want to do it again? Like somebody that's considering microdosing,
Yeah, for like somebody who had a wild experience, right?
Don't
Like
get it from Instagram. Like, don't get it from the Instagram shamans. Please don't do that. So, I think it's important to, just like cannabis, it's important to ask questions. It's important to know, like, what strain it is. There's lots of strains out there, and every strain has, different, like, frequency or area focus I want to talk about. Ask how it's grown. Where does it come from? And usually how a supplier reacts to you, you're gonna really know if like this is someone you wanna work with. Because cannabis to me is really good for physical ailments, right? It's like for pain management, for food, for sleep, like a lot of physical things. Psychedelics is mental health, spirituality, consciousness, like
internal shit.
Yeah, and it's just I think it has more of a intense like energy to it, and it's affected, So like, we've all been in those rooms where the mushroom is sitting next to the bags of all the other stuff, and you're like, that should not be sitting there next to the powders, like it should be sitting there with the other plant things in another place. So I think it's, there's a lot of people mixing things also. So you'll find capsules like mixed with ashwagandha or lion's mane and all of that stuff. And I think you can mix things for sure, but at least get your baseline knowledge of how that works for you. Mm-hmm. Because if you're mixing things and you have a reaction, whether it's positive or negative, you don't know what's causing it. Like you can't figure out like,
but
you know what I mean? And so I think I'm a big purist. I think single strain, like knowing the strain before you start mixing things. One other thing that I think people need to be aware of is, you're not supposed to mix psychedelics if you're taking like a serotonin affecting pharmaceutical, like, the antidepressants, anti-anxiety, all of those things. So a lot of people are also taking supplements that also affect the same receptors. And so the ashwagandhas, excuse me, the 5-HTP, the St. John's wort. So check to see what type of supplements that you're taking, because it could also affect how you react to it as well. And the doctors aren't talking about that, but you people out there should be aware of them.
There you go. Yeah,
learn how to microdose.
Your psychedelic Sherpa put you on. So now I want to ask another question, because I know, like I said, I'm Dominican, was Dominican. You know what I mean? Like in the Latin community, like there's a lot of stigmas when it comes to cannabis and psychedelics. So I want to know, in the Chinese, view of things and in the culture, how are they viewed and how accepting are they?
It's not accepted. It's not like, it's so funny. Chinese medicine, we eat everything, and everything has some type of benefit to it. So I think they said like the earliest recording of any cannabis in a tomb was actually from a Chinese emperor. So it's been around, but I don't think most people know that China had an opium epidemic also in the 1800s. Like it was the British were like importing a lot of tea and silk and other things from China, and China's like, we don't want any of your shit, we're good. So then the British did what they always do, just like they did with Native Americans with alcohol. They flooded China with opium. So lots and lots of opium, to the point where there were so many addicts that the whole nation fell. So, and that was China being cut up by all of the Western countries. So I think a lot of the stigma is still coming from that time where Asia was literally crippled and colonized by the West. So it's, 200 years now? It's a 200-year kind of cultural recovery from that moment. And, my family's an anomaly. I was like, hey, Mom, I'm going to do this in weed. And she's just like, okay, well, we need to set some money aside because everything happens. We needed money for the lawyers. So, and this is a lady.
Shout out to Mom Dukes.
So this is a lady who's so conservative. So, like, I see in my own family how it works. So I'm a big believer.
She like, we gonna put this money aside. You know what I'm saying?
So what do you think? Because, me and Ramon talk about it, like, same thing, Dominican Republic. Like, we try to help and support any organizations that are fighting for legalization and try to share the information because, not as deep as China, but they have their own version. All they hear about is, to them, smoking cannabis is like smoking crack. Like, because they just,
there's
it's
no
just
differentiation.
because it's
all drugs
Schedule
or bad.
1, it's all drugs. So, it's still a fight to get them to understand where it's evolved to. So I was gonna ask you, but I think that it's starting to get in there a little bit because they're so connected to what happens in the U.S., especially New York and the East Coast. So what do you think is gonna take for the East to start moving the needle over there for them to get over that PTSD and see now how things have changed?
I think it's actually up to the elders.
So
the elders in your family, because usually if like grandma, grandpa, auntie, and uncle are cool with something, the rest, everybody in the family is cool with it. They have to be, especially. I mean, I don't know about white families, but in families of color, there's still that respect of the elders and what they say goes. So so I think it starts with the elders being able to be like, hey friend, I can't sleep. I smoked this and it worked. Or, I have arthritis. Someone, gave me this. It worked. And like that conversation, that grassroots way of communicating and helping each other, that's community. So then we get one family who's cool with it, talking to another family who's cool with it. That keeps going. And that whole community, that whole neighborhood changes.
faster than you know it.
Exactly. Because all the younger generations are going to be cool with it too. So I think that is the elders.
The younger generation already cool with it. They just waiting. They're like, okay, yo, shit, we can smoke now,
Yeah.
That's why people always say that the most effective thing is like at the dinner table, like you said, to bring that education because that's where it starts at. If you don't convince those elders that run that family dinner table, it's gonna get hard to make it mainstream.
Exactly.
So now taking it back to when we first met, and how did you hear about Happy Munkey, and what was your first experience with us? If you remember.
Yeah, I remember Ryan Scott, who was, part of our team back, was like 2018. He's like, oh my God, I just went to this underground speakeasy, smokeasy, and it was so cool. We got to go. So he had the number to the guy that knew the code to like get up there. so we came up the elevator. I just remember like everyone was so nice. The guy that was running the elevator was so fucking nice. We opened the door. Everyone was so nice. It was just a really welcoming vibe, and you felt comfortable. You felt safe, and you're like, cool, let's see what's in here. Let's rock. So that's when my first experience was just really, really positive, and I just felt like this was a magical place.
Thank you very much. That's a big compliment coming from you. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You're a big event producer here, so that makes.
It was just the vibe. It was just like so many different types of people. There were women there, which was always rarity back then, still is sometimes. Whenever there's black couches, there's never women. If you want to attract women, change it from black couches. And there was like good music. You guys were playing house music for once. It wasn't just only hip hop. Like, no disrespect, but
it's everything. We play everything. We in New York, like
So it was just really, I don't know, like it'd been a long time since I felt that way. You know, the other time it was a milestone moment. It was like when I'm gonna say house music because it's not fucking EDM. Like back in the 90s.
Yeah, house music.
Those parties where everyone just came and danced. Like I had a similar feeling when I came to your spot.
Nice.
It means a lot from such a well-traveled experience person like yourself. That, you know. So you now, you know, being such a New York City, you know, like kind of like / New Yorker, how long you've been here and everything you've
I'm
done
adjacent.
here.
I can't claim native. Been here for like since 2006. So
It's been
adjacent.
a while.
I'm New Yorker adjacent.
Yeah.
So like for someone that is trying to check out the sights and sounds, what places, like you said, like Happy Munkey was memorable, do you recommend people come check out that if you come to New York, you gotta see, you gotta go to?
I don't.
Well,
for weed?
Nah, for munchies. How
For
about for munchies?
oh, okay.
Give me munchies. Give me what's like a nice munchie spot
Oh
for you.
my God. That's
Like,
such
yo,
a hard question.
Even if it's like some healthy vegan shit, I don't know. Give me like your spot. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, I just came out of Happy Munkey. Yo, let's go eat something. And
I really want. I walked by the little pepperoni pizza spot down the street. That's my favorite. Like that style with the tiny little crunchy crispy pepperonis. Like I'm gonna go get some slices. Do you guys want some slices after this? I want some of that. But I think what's been really interesting is, at least on the Chinese food side, it seems like a lot of the kids that grew up in Chinese restaurants that are like my age now are doing their own thing. So there's like this whole wave of like elevated Chinese dining that is really staying. It's not even fusion. It's really staying true to the old school Chinese food that you just don't normally find here. You know. So gosh, my brain is not working today so well with remembering names. Hot pot. I love hot pot. Like I've been going every week.
What's hot pot?
Hot pot. It's like Chinese fondue.
oh,
So you
okay.
have
Hot pot.
It's not cheese. You have a broth, and then you have raw vegetables and meats. And you cook it in the broth, and then you have all these dipping sauces. So
That's
it's a
perfect.
staple. I'll take
That
you
sounds
guys.
like a super
We'll have to
munchie
do
spot
a-
right
have
there,
to
right?
do a-
Right,
I'm
David?
gonna have to go with Lulu because every time I do hot pot, I never know. Like, there's so many sauces and so many.
I'll
things.
make it. Yeah, I gotta.
I need an
really good
aficionado.
sauce.
See, there you go. That sounds.
Let's do that. We'll do a Happy Munkey hot pot date.
Yeah, let's do it.
How about on the cannabis scene? What would you recommend somebody to come check out from?
I don't even know anymore, Vlad.
You're
I'm
out
in
the
the
loop.
back. I'm literally, we do so
like
many
me.
fucking events. I am literally at home, like strapped to my laptop, making calls, doing graphics, calling vendors, like going on site visits. So like, I'm not cool. I don't know
You're the
what's
coolest.
I am not cool. I
You're
do
cooler
not
than the other side of the pillow. Lulu.
know
Come on.
what is going on out there. It's like and there's so much happening. So I hope to meet more people. I think they're gonna let me out of the back office to like go meet up with people. But you know, like we're talking about, we're kind of in the office behind the scenes, just trying to make sure things don't fall apart. Bring me the rubber glue. Yeah,
We still surviving out
we're
here
still
in these streets.
surviving.
What do you think from you coming 8 years ago? Like, what do you think about the cannabis culture now in New York? Because, like I said, you know, you have such a different perspective because you started in the West Coast and seen everything in between. So now, where it started to where it is, and where do you see the New York cannabis culture going?
I'm really excited about New York cannabis culture because it's not one note. You know, like I had this guy. I had a call. I
There's
took
always
call.
a guy.
There's always a guy. And could you believe he told me, you know, culture goes from west to east? And I was like, excuse me? I'm like, I'll give you stoner culture of one type. Might have originated in the California and it comes over here. But I was like, my friend, New Yorkers use cannabis to create global culture. Very, very different. Like, this is the epicenter of art, food, fashion, music. Like, it's an epicenter. So, like, I disagree that, you know,
Yeah, there is
culture.
no typical stoner
Thank
in
you.
New York. Like, you
Thank
can't
you.
paint a picture. You can't there's that character doesn't exist,
Yeah,
right?
so
Like, you know how like they did in California, like the surfer dude who looked like
Yeah,
a stoner or
exactly.
something. That doesn't exist in New York.
New
You don't have
Yorkers
the
are so multidimensional, right? It's like I go on the West Coast, I meet someone, I'm like, oh, I know all about you. You're probably vegetarian, vegan. You recycle. You adopted your dog. Like you work in tech. Like I don't get any curveballs of like, oh my God, that's so interesting. But here, it's just there's so many different types of people. You can have so many different interests, and you'll always find that here. And so I think New York culture, we haven't even tapped into the people that also consume weed. We haven't even seen them yet. They've just been kind of quietly behind the scenes. Like, no one's doing, weed at the house music or electronic music events. They're not using it day of. They're doing it when they're coming down the next day, So like maybe for the day parties, that's when it's supposed to happen. There's my artist friends that, really when they want to be creative, they'll smoke and kind of go into like this Zen state of creativity. No one's marketing to them, So I just don't even think we've seen the potential of what a robust market full of different types of, consumers are yet. And that's what we really want to do. It's like we want to connect the music, the food, like we haven't even gone there yet. And that's why I'm really excited about all the events that we're doing. And we're just experimenting. Like, we don't know anything, right? Like, this is the beginning of the beginning.
Yes.
So we're just doing what we do with, design thinking, which is like, we're going to do some things. We're going to see if it works. If it's cool, we're going to keep doing it. And that's what is driving
I remember
us.
I was talking to my other partner, Jay, earlier, and he was like, Vlad, because he also has experience like you of like how it started in the West Coast. He said, we are in started like in 96 in California. He said, we are in 1999 where the industry was in California. That's where New York is, where they were in 1999. So imagine how little of the surface we've touched yet. Yep. And to add to what you said, like, I always tell people, because, people get caught up, East Coast, West Coast, whatever. So I take it outside of cannabis, right? I tell people, California are great producers. They produce great wine.
All
they
the good shit.
Produce great agriculture. They produce great movies, and they are amazing at these things.
Yeah.
New York is King Kong consumer of the world.
Yeah.
And ever since, like Ramon always says, the Dutch came here and set this up 300 years ago, it was a social experiment where people from all over the world come to be merchants and be creatives. Yep. And that is what it is to this day, and has not been able to be replicated in the best experiences. That's why it's the financial culture capital of the world. Yep. And the hospitality capital of the world. And we're going to see all of those manifest now. They covered the genetics and the production and all that stuff. Now you're going to see all these things that I said New York specialized, add to the experience and take it to another level is what I think.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like, I really wish, like, New York had the balls to follow the culture. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we do all these culinary things. Like, let's just try it out. Like, we can do 6 months on this. We'll see how this works. Like, I wish they gave us the freedom to just try new things. And again, I was talking about trust of the government, of the citizens, like, to be able to. I think I'm an anarchist, you guys. I think my Oregon roots are coming back. I think because that's the core belief that everybody should be able to govern themselves, right? And not have all this. Yeah, I think I'll rebrand it Anarchy. We'll put a twist to it.
People are doing what they want to do regardless.
Thank
like you said, man. Like I said, people are doing their shit. They're full-blown adults. And whatever they want to get into, they get into.
Shout out to all the people that are doing the whole, as far as like, edible infusion thing. Like, my people's 99th Floor, Chef for Hire, Stoned Peak. So, you know what I mean? Because it's like you said, that is something else they have to open up in the future.
Yeah, man, I can't wait till like the big companies get involved, right? Because I know some people are like, yo, big company. But what you mean? You don't want to get in bed with Nabisco or some shit like that? Like, I want a Happy Munkey cookie with Nabisco. Like, what you mean? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, I can't wait for, like, the bigger, like, things that can take us up there, right? Because that's the whole thing. The whole thing is that in New York, we get to shine the light on the lifestyle, not necessarily what the person looks like, right? Yeah. But we all know that stoners love the munchies. Here in New York, we like the nightlife. We like fashion a lot here. This is not like a maybe thing. We love all the seasons because people love to get dressed up here. This is what it is. So we get to shine the light a lot on hospitality. How you treat people, you know, like you said, you know, welcoming people in your space, you know, building safe spaces, right? Because that's another thing in New York. We so used to trauma. We've been getting locked up so long here, right? That now people just want to still feel safe, right? Especially guys that are still, you know, our age, that they still like a little bit like shaky, right? People still feel shaky, but now hopefully, you know, all these things.
We like also say like, California, can you please stop sending your rejects over here?
Heard it from the queen first, baby.
That was spicy. I like that. That was spicy.
We have a fairly clean pool right now, and you keep sending us your rejects. And
I always tell people, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, because
gold.
because I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, Lulu, because I always meet all these people from outside of New York. Not from California, from all over the country, and they're like, you know, I don't like New York. New York is so mean and so rough, and I don't know. I said, listen to me. I'm gonna tell you how black and white New York is. If you're a real, authentic person, New York is the best place in the world.
It is
but
magical.
if you are coming to sell dreams and
That's
be all
LA.
you could be, like
That's
the
LA.
army, and do any of that, and so. It's not gonna go well for you.
Definitely not gonna
So it's
go
just black
well.
and white like that, right?
And New Yorkers just don't have time to fluff. You know, like there's 3 million people on the island all at once, if not more. Is it 7? I don't remember. COVID and all of that. Like, you don't have the time to just like fluff things up. It's not a fluffy type of town. It's just like, like, you know. And I heard the best things, like New Yorkers are kind, they're not nice, and West Coast is nice but not kind, and that's, you know, here it's like, what I love about New Yorkers, like no matter how much you party the night before, if you have a date with them the next day at 9 o'clock in the morning, they show up. California, I'm sorry, you don't show up. So, you know, so there's just like this level of, I vibe with it, like, get straight to the point. I'm interested to hearing some of the, you know, California brands, how they're adapting to like New York. And yeah,
I mean, we like to get straight to the point because there's a lot of things going on, and then we can get to whatever the party is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, XYZ. Okay, everything's great. All right, boom, let's go to the party, right? Because it's like, come on, man, we ain't got no time for that shit, man. And then we talking about the high function in New York. Now, the average New Yorker absolutely has no time for you. Because they get into work, kid, school, whatever it is, they don't have absolutely no time for you. So like you said, it's like, yeah, they'll help you as they, you know, go along.
If it's convenient for them to help you along the way, they will do it.
Exactly.
Like Californians be like, oh, I'm so sorry. That sucks, and walk away.
and in New York, you see it. Like, you see it in the train stations. Like, you see people, you know, and I've seen that. I've done it myself. You help the lady in the stroller.
Yes.
You help the old lady. It's
Yes.
real quick. You don't have no time to hug or say thank you or none of that shit. But you help, right? You pick it up real quick. Boom, boom, boom. You place it. You
Exactly.
good? All right, boom, bow, and you keep it moving, right? Everybody helps. It's just that we don't have no time for the extra shit, right? We don't have no time to give you fake banter for the moment.
God,
you know what I mean? It's like, yo, you need help? All right, we got you.
Yeah.
Yo, David, here, hold it down. We run down the stairs real quick. Boom, place it for her. Yo, you good? All right, boom. Everybody keeps it moving.
I appreciate that a lot. You know, it was hard for me in California. It wasn't until I got to New York that I was like, I think I found my people. Because, oh my God, I just remember just doing a lot of drugs in California because I was so bored. I was really, really bored.
They couldn't hold your attention, Lulu.
Thank you. And here it's like, people are like, do you go out and party all the time? I'm like, not really, because there's so much, I'm stimulated so much, like the museums, the shows, like the people. I always say West Coast is great for lifestyle, but for me, people, East Coast, no like you can't even like that. I found many people.
I mean, let me show a little love to the West Coast because it sounded like a West Coast hate party for a moment.
We
The
don't
one
hate
thing,
you.
the one thing that I do love about the West Coast is that they have every fucking terrain possible to man, right?
True.
Like you can
It's
fucking
majestic.
like it shit
It's
is
majestic.
ridiculous.
It's
This shit is like
majestic.
desert, ocean, city, valleys,
Mountains.
mountains, whatever the fuck you can think of. The
Lakes.
shit, yeah, lake, whatever, right?
It's
Like this shit is
beautiful.
insane. That shit is beautiful, and you know, and yeah, there is some things that.
That's why they produce the best. They're great.
Yeah,
at
they got the good
producing
stuff.
everything.
They got the
Got the
good stuff,
climate.
man. They got the good stuff, man. And I definitely fell in love because you know I'm a consumer first, right? The one thing I am as far as weed, I'm a consumer, and I fell in love when we first walked into a dispensary in California, right? 'Cause it's like the first time, not my first time seeing a lot of weed, because I've always seen a bunch of weed, but the fact that I can walk into like a store and there's like some real stoners there, and then like. You know, like there was good greetings and like at the moment, right? I guess you know maybe it was like I don't know 2015 or 2014. I don't remember. It was way back then, and it was like a moment of. And then they know we were from New York, so they're like, "Oh, get them the good stuff." They like bring the shit from the back and like, "Yo, here, show them the good stuff," right? So it was like the
This
first
is just
time.
let's give a little view. This is like we're on Venice 2014, 2015. Some chick outside with a nurse. I was like, oh, come get your medical card.
The green doctor
and
shit,
then
the green
when you
doctor
buy
stuff.
your medical card, then we take you to the dispensary where you could buy like this is back then.
Yeah, man. And then we just happened to bump into this character that was called the Giant Green Giant, a Jolly Green Giant type of dude, and he was like 6'8", 6'9", right? He was huge, right? And it was like real funny, and we had this real funny experience, and I got to see all these flavors of weed, and I love it because it's like, oh shit, now there's like this real enormous menu of all type of weed. What I didn't know is that fast forward to now that we're gonna have 1 billion shops with all the rejects.
Lulu, I got a very, very important question for you, and I feel like you being a renowned woman with global experience has the best answer for and best perspective for. So we ask everyone the $1 million question. If you had to describe a Happy Munkey in one word, everything you know about it, what it represents, what would it be and why?
Do you want the like proper answer?
No, I want the proper answer.
We're not here with the proper.
Fuck
we
the
need
proper
I would
answer.
say like ballsy.
ballsy. Nobody does that
I
one.
said
Why
ballsy.
ballsy?
Because honestly, you guys took the risk. You were the very first ones in New York that created this lounge that was open and invited everybody and was like proud of it, right? You weren't hiding, it was there. And because you guys did that and was that example, so many other people felt safe to do that. So I could say pioneer, but that doesn't really suit me. I don't think it suits you guys. So I think it was just really ballsy of you, and that's like mad respect for like not giving a shit and trying it and being confident about it. And honestly, like, because you guys did that and you took the time to talk to the legislators and talk to the regulators, everyone, as soon as like everyone just followed your lead, you know, it was like boom, 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 and like everything opened up. But if it wasn't for you guys at that time that took that risk, I don't think we'd have so many lounges, so many like gray area things, honestly.
That means a lot coming from you, man. Thank you, man. You don't make me blush here, but I really, like I said, I really value your opinion because, I know that it comes from a experienced, knowledgeable place because you're not like somebody that's just born and raised in New York, never went anywhere, didn't see anything else. You've seen everything from coast to coast, so that means a lot coming from you. Thank
David,
you.
are we missing anything? Or
On
you
the
got
news, what's going on?
You got some stuff from us?
David's the Cannabis CNN.
He got
I
some
love
stuff from
that.
us. He got some stuff from us. What you got for us, my man?
All right, we're gonna start with a fun one first.
A who? A fun one?
A fun one.
all right,
first.
all right.
Okay. Said a felon. Come on now, David.
All right, so this week, an art installation went up in the Flatiron District that showcased a 24-hour live stream between Dublin and New York. They called it The Portal, and it was planned to be active on 23rd Street through the fall. It was closed after 6 days because of inappropriate behavior.
Oh, I know that. I know this one.
I think I seen this
Buzz,
too.
I haven't seen this.
I want to know what are your thoughts on the art installation, and are you surprised they shut it down only after 6 days?
Well, I thought the art installation was fabulous. Like being able, like, remember those back in the day sister cities, and then way back in the day you had like a pen pal from a sister city. So like I think that's amazing. And of course they shut it down after that woman showed her titties. Right? It's just like
So I was waiting for her to say scared everybody.
Titties
We watch
scared everyone.
murders, heads being chopped
You
off every
know?
day, but the titties shut it down the whole world.
So David, was that a U.S. decision or an Ireland decision?
It can be a New York decision, right? Because it's not you're not breaking the law to be topless.
Well, no, they showed their titties in Dublin to us here.
Oh,
So, at least from what I've been seeing on the internet, it's been a lot of stuff in Dublin that they've been kind of like flagrantly showing us here. Like they had like,
The luck of the Irish.
It's like OnlyFans. It's an OnlyFans installation.
they were showing like
yeah, but it's
pictures of 9/11
wild
and
because
wild
it's in the
shit.
middle of Town Square, right? And it's like
But it's
kids
just
walk by and
titties.
shit like that.
I mean, right? Unless I only saw titties.
It was titties. They mooned us. They did a few different things.
It's body parts. It's
we'll
fine.
be okay.
Like,
People
who
grow up. Yeah,
cares?
who gives a fuck?
Yeah, but they closed it. Yeah, it was right there on 23rd Street.
That's
So
such
How y'all mad at? How y'all mad at titties? Like
Everybody
women
loves
ain't even
titties.
mad at titties. Like, I don't
Everybody
understand
loves
that. Like,
titties. Like,
how you mad at the titties? Like, what's wrong with y'all?
Titties ain't never hurt nobody.
Come
Thank
on,
you.
what's wrong with y'all, man?
all right, so I got two more. Governor Hochul had many announcements that shook the internet and shook New York, but none more controversial, I would say, than quote, "Kids in the Bronx don't know what computers are." What are your thoughts on her comments, and why does the Bronx always get so much hate?
can you fire your speechwriter?
That's what, I don't understand how they ain't like warn her. Like, is she crazy, bro? Like, did you see the post? Somebody posted computers, the song Computers. Like, are you crazy? Like, how you crazy? Like, come on, like
You gotta be really out of touch to, even if the writer slipped through, for you not to catch it and be like, maybe this is not a good idea.
That wasn't
You know what I mean?
wasn't
Like, you
good,
know,
man. Like,
you must be a little removed because that was kind of wild.
I don't keep up with politics, so I don't know enough to actually judge her and what her politics does. But that moment right there was a super blooper, B. Like, come on, man. Like, what is you doing? Like, what? Come on, that was crazy. Like, I don't even know what to say about that, B. Like, come on, man. Like, she's bugging out.
She was wilding for respect with
She's
that.
bugging out, bro.
That was
She was
You're into
super
my Bronx
tweaking,
guy
bro.
like that.
Yeah.
My man, young Rico in the building.
She bugged out, man. This is hilarious, bro. She did not say that. That's
With a straight face.
I'm
Wow.
like, she's crazy.
All right, we'll end it with a cannabis one. So shout outs to New Jersey just to start it off. But New Jersey set a new quarterly record with $201 million in sales
In a quarter?
in a quarter.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hard.
Whoa.
So even though they put up $201 million in sales, experts are saying that they're signs of slowing of their growth. Apparently that New Jersey's plateauing in terms of their expansive industry coming online. And we spend a lot of time talking about New York and all these other places, but we don't show a lot of love to New Jersey. So I wanted to know, what are your thoughts on the market, and where do you see it going?
No, man.
I think New Jersey's a great market, but I don't know exactly what's happening over there. But if I was just to judge off of what you said right now, the only obvious indicator that because I know for a fact that a lot of people were crossing over to New Jersey to purchase before the market ramped up here. Now we're up to like 100 and something stores. Much more cultivation. The industry's getting bigger. I don't think it's plateauing. I just think that the people that used to go from New York are probably not going, and maybe it's messing up their projections.
That's good insight. I don't know enough about New Jersey to have anything
That's just an assumption. I don't know. That's just me assuming.
to contribute.
Shit. I don't know enough about Jersey. I'm glad they're making money. They the homies. Shout out to Jersey. You know what I mean? Like, what you gonna say?
Yeah, that's it for the news this week.
That's it for the news this week, man. Are we missing anything else?
What's going on? Young Rico in the building. You got anything for us, man? You know, you out there shaking and
You hit
baking.
on the nail with that, the portal and the what's the shorty said about the Bronx. That right.
Oh,
Those
yeah,
two
nah, that was
the one.
kind of
That
crazy,
insane,
right?
bro.
I
You
don't
gotta
know,
get
I
us
don't
the
know. That
youth
was kinda
update. What's going on?
Any sports fans, you know the Knicks is doing their thing.
Oh, shout out to the Knicks,
They
man.
said-
Then this is y'all was a little bit younger, you know, back in the 90s.
Shout out to the
Knicks,
Knicks, man. And if we would have had the speakers, you know, we would have had a couple Knicks up in there. I'm not gonna lie, man. Light flex.
Listen, man, it's New York's time. New York State will dominate, and so will the Knicks, King. You know, it's the same thing, baby. We, you know, just like we had our heyday in the '90s, now it's our turn again.
I ain't gonna lie, man. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just blame it on weed if we win, bro. And that's it, man. That's how we gonna do it, man. We gonna.
So thank you, Lulu, and I want you to tell everyone where they can find you on the Revel. Where can they stay in touch with the Sherpa, with On The Revel, with all the amazing things you have going on, so they could, you know, stay on track and in tune with you.
There's, you know, go to our Instagram, so at On The Revel, REVEL. There's also, I want to shout out to Cannabis Media Council and I'm High Right Now campaign, which is the trade association I'm also president of that is really breaking down some of the barriers with advertising and marketing for cannabis brands across mainstream publications. And yeah.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you wanna stay in tune, you see that this woman and On The Revel are always doing amazing things, always about the community, always about the culture. Stay in tune with them if you want to learn more about cannabis, psychedelics, or whatever else, you know. So thank you again, Lulu. This was like, you know, this was like a family homecoming, it felt like.
Nice reunion.
Yeah, man. It's a good time, man. It was a good time.
For everybody out there, keep it real, don't squeal, and life will hand you a good deal. Till the next episode, peace.
Good money.
Yay. That was so much fun, you guys.